Hi everybody, this is the IELTS Breakthrough YouTube channel. In this lesson, I want to tell you about the overview for the map question. That is the Task 1 Writing Map question. This video gives you all you need to know about the overview paragraph for a map question in Task 1. It's quite simple, and by the end of watching this, you'll know exactly what to do. So please watch until the end. If you clicked on this video for the first time, welcome to IELTS Breakthrough. This is a YouTube channel that helps you get a high score in IELTS so that you can study at an international university or progress in your career. Welcome and thank you. In another video, I've talked about how to write an overview, but that video was concentrated on the overview that you need to write for the chart question. Remember that charts are about 85% of Task 1 questions. By charts, I mean the tables, the graphs, bar charts, and pie charts. That's an important video. However, of course, it's possible that you will have to describe a map. So this video tells you about the overview for the map. Now, the strategy is basically the same. In the overview, there are two components. The first component is the description, and then the second part of your overview are the key features. This stays the same whatever kind of Task 1 question you have. Let's talk about the description here. Now, I'll just show you some example instructions from a map question. You can see it here. The two maps below show an island before and after the construction of some tourist facilities. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features, and make comparisons where relevant. Let's start with the description. So the description is given to you in the question. It's the first part that I just read out to you. Of course, the description will be a little bit different depending on the kind of map that you have. Now, the point here is that when you write a description, you cannot copy it as it is shown to you. There is no point copying that description out. You need to describe it in your own words. Also, the description is not the most important part of your overview. So do not spend too much time thinking about and trying to make a really good description. Just keep it to 1, maybe 2 sentences, no more. In this example, there's no real fixed answer, but the description will be something like this. There are two maps shown. The first map shows the situation of an island before any tourist resort was built. And then the second map shows us what happened after a whole tourist resort was built on the island. Notice that in the description, you're just telling the reader what the information shows. That's all. You don't need to go into any details. Okay, we've written the description. Now, the next thing you need to do is pick out the 2 or 3 big key features. In a map, these will be the 2 or 3 major changes that you can see. There might be a bit of debate about what the biggest changes are. That's okay. Usually the first one is undebatable, it's very clear, and then perhaps the second or third can be debated. However, make sure that they are significant changes. In your overview, you want to tell the reader what the 2 or maybe 3 most significant changes are. You do not need to include all of the small changes. Now, of course, this means that you need to look at those 2 maps and then quickly see what the 2 or 3 biggest changes actually are. This will vary according to the type of map that you have. So let's look at our example here. I would say that the biggest changes are the building of accommodation units, the construction of a pier, and also 2 new buildings, that is the reception and the restaurant. And then you'd need to write that out as a sentence. It might look something like this. There are 3 significant changes that have been made to the island. Firstly, a pier has been built. Secondly, there is a lot of accommodation that has been built on the island. And then finally, the map also shows the construction of 2 large buildings, which are the reception and the restaurant of the holiday resort. Now, notice in the overview that you are not going into so much detail. In one of the other videos about how to answer map questions, I talked about using points of the compass, talking about the location of the feature on the map. If it is in the top right corner, in the bottom half of the map, north, south, east and west. Certainly you need to use that information, but that would not be in the overview. The overview is just a description and a general idea, a mention of the 2 or 3 of the biggest changes. Also, in the overview, you are only mentioning the biggest changes, but there are other changes. In the map, for example, there is mention of a footpath and also a mention of a vehicle track. You would need to describe that as well. Let me just give you an overview that could be written for this example question following these strategies that I've described. The 2 maps show an island and what it was like before and after a resort was built. There are a number of very noticeable changes in the island. Firstly, a pier has been constructed to receive boats. Secondly, a large number of accommodation units have been built. And finally, 2 large buildings were created as the reception area and the restaurant. And that is it. That is your overview. Remember, the overview is the opening paragraph in your answer. So after the overview, you need 1 paragraph to describe the map before, that is the island in the first map on the top, and then make a new paragraph to describe all of the changes, including the location and the precise kind of change that has happened. All right, well, I hope this has given you a good idea of how you write your overview for these kind of map questions. Remember, put some comments in there. Let me know, how useful did you find this video? What else do you need to know about these kind of map questions in IELTS Task 1? Don't be shy, all of your comments are welcome and I'll try and give you as much help as I can. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, month, week, afternoon or evening. I will see you for the next IELTS Breakthrough video.